we go. Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Super Review Show's Mixed Bag. I am joined with my good friend, Bill.
What's going on, folks? We got a great show for you tonight.
Yes, and we are joined by our special guest tonight, good old Danny Boy. How you doing tonight, Dan?
Hey, I'm good. How's it going?
Everyone, this is my good friend, Dan, a.k.a. Danny Boy Reginald. He is one of my partners on the podcast that I so don't promote on this show.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Sports Insanity Podcast. Check us out. We are wherever you get your podcast. He is one of my partners in crimes on the airwaves.
Awesome. Well, so glad to have you both, Bill, joining us as always. And Dan, welcome aboard.
Hey, it's great to be here. Anytime someone tells me we're talking about TV shows, I'm like, yes. That's another thing that I'm really good at doing, watching TV.
There's no idea what he's getting himself into.
Well,
actually, no, he does. Just deal with me every week.
Oh boy. Well,
okay,
I will be monitoring. Yeah, go ahead, Bill. Why don't you explain what's going on, then I'll explain what's
tonight,
going on.
Okay, first, a few housekeeping things. We're going to be taking a little bit of a different direction for the next while. We're going to kind of take a break from doing top tens, just because it's kind of getting redundant. Wouldn't you say, JT?
I would completely agree. I actually think that we have done it so much that I think our viewers, you guys, are a little bit tired of it as well.
So I think we're not going to totally get rid of it. We're maybe just going to do it maybe like once a month.
As they say, it's on the back burner for now.
Yeah. So what we're doing tonight is, okay, for the next couple of weeks, we'll be talking about media that's overrated and then stuff that's underrated. Well, tonight is the first of two overrateds. Tonight, we're going to be talking about overrated TV shows.
That's correct.
And next week, we're going to be talking about overrated movies. And then 2 weeks from now, we're going to do TV shows that we think are underrated. And then we're going to do movies that are underrated. So,
bada bing, bang, boom.
And just a few quick other things. One, I have to stress this. Overrated. Okay, I think overrated is the most misunderstood word. Overrated does not mean we necessarily think this show is bad. These shows are bad.
No.
We just think these are shows that get a little too much praise than they deserve.
Correct.
That's like, listen, some of these shows, I'm sure some of the shows that we're going to talk about are shows that we might even like.
Yeah.
But we don't think they're bad. We just think they get a little too much praise than they deserve.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say, disclaimer here, everyone, these are just our own personal opinions. These are our own personal opinions. If you agree with us, fine. If you disagree with us, that's cool. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Again, none of these are facts. They're just opinion.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Everything is subjective in the world of the arts, whether it be music, film, TV. It's all subjective. And we're curious to see what you have to say tonight. So let's get to it, shall we?
So let us rock and roll. JT, would you like to start, my friend?
Well, Bill, I would love to start tonight, and then we'll see where we go from there. And feel free to jump in if you guys have any comments or any questions regarding what I'm about to say is what I think is one of the most overrated TV shows on television since 2003, Criminal Minds.
Okay, why do you think it's overrated?
To me, I've seen, and I'm not one of these people where I can say like, oh, I've never seen the show. Like, I've actually watched probably a good chunk of the show. And I'm like, that's repetitive. That, like, how many, it's a copy repeat show to me. And I think it's a little bit overrated for those reasons. I know I'm going to get obliterated for that, but Criminal Minds, like, it's been on CBS for God knows how long. We've been talking about this like show.
It just ended.
Did it really just end?
It just ended, yeah.
Oh, finally. I don't know. I think
it just ended like a few months ago, I think.
I had no idea. I really had no idea that it ended. That's so weird.
Now, I want to ask you, JT, do you actually think the show is bad, or do you just think it gets a little too much praise?
Okay, I don't think it's bad at all. I think some of the writing on it is actually very, very well done for television, for regular primetime CBS or NBC television. I just think that it's a little bit overrated as far as like the hype it gets. Like, I know there's some people I know like I cannot stop watching Criminal Minds. Oh my god! Did you see like the episode of the bomb or like come on. It's a little repetitive to me, and it's in my opinion, but that's me.
Yeah, I just want to say about Criminal Minds. I remember my mom loved the show. My dad couldn't stand it. But I was never really a huge fan of the show. But like, I've never like sat down and watched every episode from back to back to back to back to back. But I watched a few episodes. I think some of it's actually very interesting.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I've only seen a certain amount of it. I mean, I'm not like
how they get into the minds
of one of these people where I'm like, oh, I've seen like this season or this season. I haven't done that. But I will say that I've watched enough of it where I can get the idea of it.
How they get into the minds of like criminals and what motivates them to commit crimes. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty interesting. But
those parts are cool. Yeah.
But I say if you really want to watch that, go watch some serial killer documentary on Netflix.
Or just watch Dexter.
Watch Dexter. I like that idea.
So it's coming back. They have a limited series event going on. That's being taped or come around soon.
Yeah. All right, Red. Dan, do you have anything to say on Criminal Minds or?
I mean, I've never really watched the season of Criminal Minds, but I will say this: the fact that it was on for 15 seasons and it just ended over a year ago just goes to show you that, hey, look, like it's a very successful show. Now, I mean, a lot of shows on CBS are overrated. Let's get real here.
I agree.
Oh my god!
Damn it, CBS!
Like for the longest time, it was quote unquote America's most watched network. So that's how you know a lot of these shows are overrated.
Yeah. So Dan, let's go to you. What's one of your most overrated shows?
One of my most overrated shows.
Which show do you think is overrated?
I think there's a lot of shows that I think are actually underrated, but if I have to pick an overrated show, I would have to say Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Oh, yes.
How did I not think of that? Woo.
All I could say is praise the Lord that it's finally ending.
Well, I mean, the Kardashians aren't going anywhere. They're going to streaming, so it's like...
And get rid of them.
You can't get rid of them. Exactly. Well, even if they aren't on TV, they're on social media. They're doing something in the spotlight. But no, that show to me gets way too much. I mean, and look, it was on for a long time.
They're famous for doing nothing.
Exactly. Because I've seen that show so many times. And look, the drama is crazy on that show. But the amount of attention it gets is just really sickening and just not necessary. Like, I just think that for a show like that, it shouldn't get so much attention because you sort of expect it. You can anticipate so many things with it. And on top of that, just annoying, just flat out annoying. And, the fact that people are overhyping it is just insane. Overrated.
Kardashians. Here's the thing with Keeping Up the Kardashians. Like I said, they're famous for doing nothing. Kim got famous because she made a sex tape. And what was that, JT?
It's true.
It's true. It's true. And
that and being associated with OJ because of her dad and the lawyer and all that stuff.
Yeah, her dad was actually one of the attorneys for O.J. Simpson. They were really close friends.
Yeah, but mostly the sex tape.
Yeah, and O.J. is actually Kim Kardashian's godfather.
Oh God, help them.
And of course, we all know what we could bash we can all bash Kim for her poor choice in men, such as Kanye West.
Oh.
And they're finally getting divorced too. I just want to say this one thing because we're not a celebrity gossip channel.
No, not at all.
No, we won't stoop that low. But anyway, I will say this. There was this meme. It was, let's see. The Kardashians turned Eric into a drug addict, Scott into an alcoholic, Bruce into a woman. Can't wait to see what they do to Kanye.
Well, if anything happens to Kanye, it's because of him, not because of the Kardashians.
Oh, he's just insane.
Yeah, that dude was nuts before he started dating Kim and having children with her. So,
oh my god, like I could sit here and rant what I can't stand about Kanye West all day,
right?
But, but I just want to. But we don't have the time for that, and I don't have enough alcohol in my fridge to get through that. But yeah, and before I go on, I just want to say that comment about Bruce into a woman that I didn't mean anything by that. That was just the meme. To any of our listeners who are transgendered, I didn't mean anything by that. Anyway. Okay. Now it's my turn. One of the most overrated shows. I am going to get a lot of flack for this.
Oh boy, here we go.
This was a show that I've only watched a few episodes and I never really got into it. Maybe I should give it another look. Breaking Bad. Let the hate come. Let it come. Let it come. I mean,
look. Okay, go. You go first. I'm going to chime in after you're done.
Okay, it's like, listen, I don't think the show is bad. I think the concept is interesting. I try to watch it. I just, honest to God, couldn't get into it. I watched like the first season. I'm like, I really can't get into this. I just kind of find it, I don't know, just kind of found it boring. I couldn't really get into it. And you know, I know a lot of people like this show. And like, even before I gave it a chance, I think why I think it's overrated, guys, and you tell me if you think this is a thing with TV shows, is you don't hate the show, you just hate the hype about it.
Exactly.
Like, I remember when it started, I was younger, so I never really got into it, but I remember everybody was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. This show is fantastic. This show is absolutely fantastic. I love it. And I'm like thinking, okay, let me give it a watch. And then I'm like, yeah, well, my dad's been watching it because he recently had hip surgery a few weeks ago and he's been kind of laid up, so he needs something to do. So he's been watching that. But yeah, I don't hate the show. I just think I just really couldn't get into it. All right, gents, you have anything to chime in on this? JT, you said you did?
Yeah, I was going to say, and I'll let Dan go after me. I just want to say, in the chat board, Alex Fodera says, hello there, your fearless leader is here. I have never seen Breaking Bad. So interesting point of view. For someone who, Alex, if you want to go off and just share your thoughts and share whatever you think.
Tell us what your most overrated shows are. We'd love to hear it.
Love to hear it. Breaking Bad is an interesting story with me. I think the quality of the show is great. Do I think it's overrated? I think not to the same extent like Criminal Minds, like I said before, but like shows like NCIS that like just need to end kind of thing, like stuff like that's a whole nother conversation. But Breaking Bad is like, it lasted 5 seasons, and to me it was good quality. It was just the hype was like over the top and like, oh my God, it's what's the Walter White? Is that his name? Like, come on, like the hype was just like, and there are still people today who are like, dude, the Arrested Development was like the greatest thing ever. Like they have that kind of attitude of like, oh well, the show is actually okay or good or great in some people's eyes.
The fans make you hate it.
Yeah, but the fan community behind it, like the cult following of like, I've seen every episode of Breaking Bad. Like, come on. Like, literally, it's a show that lasted 5 seasons and it had a good run. And there's no need for a revival. Like X-Files did the revival thing. It was okay. It wasn't great. You know what I mean? But like this show does not need a revival. If you want my honest opinion, it had a good run with a great cast and all that stuff. And honestly, I think that's what I have to say about it. Do I think it's but the fan base is just like really getting me like, well, you didn't like it because you didn't watch it. No, I watched a good chunk of it and I liked it for what I saw. But do I think do I like the overhype of it? No. Dan, tell me why I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong.
All right. Well,
I will say that I agree. I think Breaking Bad is overrated, not for the reasons y'all are explaining, but like I just think that it's more. I think it's around the properly rated, overrated. It's like on the
it's like on the cusp.
It's like right there. Like, that's what I think of Breaking Bad. Like it's good. I think from what people are saying about it, from the way critics have raved about it, I think it's about where it is. But, you get a little overexcited when there's T-shirts of the show, when, there's social media posts everywhere. So it's a little more excited. I wouldn't go as far as, it's like ridiculously overrated. On the cusp. Like it's right around properly rated. But a little.
I just want to say there are some shows I'm sure more that we're going to be talking about tonight is that like if you insult this show, it's like you're insulting God with some of these people.
Oh my God, those people.
Like,
well, I think
they attack you like a pack of wild dogs.
Well,
Like I remember people were posting when the Breaking Bad series finale, nobody post any spoilers. I'm like, okay, then don't go on social media for the next 24 hours. Duh.
Or
I DVR Breaking Bad, no spoilers. I'm like, y'all need lives.
I know, literally crazy.
But and I think that's the thing. Before we get back to you, JT, with your next overrated show, it's like the fan hype kills it. Because it's like if everyone's like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then you say, you know what? I just thought it was okay. Oh my God, you have no taste. Bad. And they just throw you into exile.
Are we wrong?
What was that?
Yeah. I said, are we wrong with those points of view? Sound off in the chat board or the comment section below.
And then you end up like us who do a show on Wednesday nights on YouTube.
How about it?
Okay, JT, what's your next overrated show?
My next overrated? Oh my God. Well, let's see. Oh boy. I don't know. I just haven't said my tongue to Joe. I'm just gonna point out what my good friend Joe Wiley's in the chat board. Thank you so much.
What's up,
Alex?
Joe?
What's up? Alex Venera just said Walking Dead. That's a whole nother conversation. I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. But I just had. Oh yeah. So talking more about like fan bases and like shows with like hardcore like. Like the diehard fans are just like, oh my god, literally. It's more like this show needs to end, kind of thing. Like, wasn't that it? Hold on, I just forgot what it was. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to blank it live on air. Oh my god. All right, give me a sec. So it wasn't. Oh yeah, okay. Listen, this show needs to end. I'm telling you right now, this show needs to end. Grey's Anatomy. Okay, like overappreciated, overrated, over everything. I like the fact that look, how many times can you kill off Patrick Dempsey? How many times can you come on? Every time I'm not. True confession. I have not seen a lot of it, but what I've seen, I feel like I'm watching the same episode or the same type of episode over and over and over again. Like the doctor's dating another doctor. There's drama going on in the hospital. Oh no, someone with a bomb comes in and there's a bomb inside their chest. Give me like something else that can go off of besides like Dr. Gray doing this or like. I'm really. This is one of I know. Go fight me. Overrated TV show, Grey's Anatomy, whatever. Dan, tell me why I'm wrong or right, depending on which way you look at it.
You said Grey's?
Grey's Anatomy on ABC.
I mean, I think it's actually underrated.
Oh,
God, I'm sorry.
Orange, we got ourselves a
sorry.
fight. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Damn, I'm sorry. Okay.
Grey's Anatomy is so good. I mean, look, I have not watched all the seasons. I don't intend on it because I'm so behind. It's not even funny. If you watch the show, it is unbelievable. I don't think it gets enough praise, really. I really don't. I think it gets very little, to be honest with you. I mean, now, you look at your opinion, but I don't know. I agree with that.
You have your opinion. I have my opinion. That's what it's all about here. We're all about that.
Yeah, no, I don't think it gets enough praise. The critics love that show, and so do many fans. But
many female fans.
But to me, I don't think it gets enough, really. I think it's taking it backburner, especially, with all the rise of all these Netflix shows and all the streaming and stuff. Like, I really think it takes it backburner. It does.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. And I don't know if I really have a set opinion on it because I've only watched like a few episodes. I could see why people don't like it or why you would, because it is kind of slow. And I was never really into medical dramas. And yeah, I did watch some of the show House. Hugh Laurie is amazing.
It's a great show.
And also, as Dan knows, one of my favorite shows is a medical show, and that is The Good Doctor. But I don't really I may have watched a few episodes of Grey's Anatomy, but I don't really have enough to settle an opinion on it. But I had a roommate in college who was hooked on Grey's Anatomy. He'd be watching Netflix constantly.
Oh wow.
And I'm like, okay, have fun. But yeah, the few episodes I watched were good. But yeah, I can kind of see why you think it's overrated. All right, Dan, over to you.
What's your next choice?
My next choice
for overrated shows.
Family Guy.
Okay. Please state your case. Please state your case.
Fine.
Family Guy. Before I say anything, Family Guy is one of the greatest animated comedies ever, and I will stand by that any day. It is completely overrated. I'm sorry. And I think that the characters are funny. I think that the show's had a very successful run, but ultimately, I just think that the way the show is, especially now, it's not, the content's not as great as it was back in its early days. To me, I think that it's not as good as it used to be, and to be quite honest, no one really talks about it.
You're right. No, you're right.
It's not even properly rated because there's never that Well, I think it's overrated. I really do. I think that the more we talk about it, the more attention it's getting. It's not necessary to get that much attention, really. It's grossly overrated, dude.
Yeah. Okay, here's where I chime in. I don't think the show is necessarily overrated, but I think it needs to end. It seriously just needs to end.
It doesn't have to end, but
no, it does. This thing has been going on for way too long.
Well, The Simpsons have been on for 30 plus years.
That's a whole nother conversation. But
a lot of these shows need to end. South Park needs to end.
No. But the thing is, okay.
At this point, you don't need to make episodes.
When you bring up South Park here, JT, sorry if we're getting a little off topic here.
Go ahead.
But the thing is with South Park, where I don't think South Park should be canceled, but I think Family Guy needs to end because South Park can stay current. They can stay current.
But here's the thing:
touch upon like current day issues.
But South Park doesn't need these full on seasons anymore. They can literally just do specials.
But okay, maybe that's a good point. But yeah, but South Park can stay current, and they can come up with new ideas. While Family Guy, okay, the early Family Guy was good.
Right.
Early Family Guy was good.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. But recent seasons, the show has just gone to absolute crap. Like, the show has gone to absolute crap.
Yeah, I mean, look, and again, this is a completely different conversation, but it's like, you know.
I think Seth MacFarlane just basically put the show on autopilot. I think at this point, he's like, because the infamous episode on, Life of Brian, when Brian dies, I think that was like, what's his face? Seth MacFarlane saying, I think that was maybe symbolic of that he wanted the show to end. But then a few episodes later, he comes back to life. And it's just, I think the thing with Family Guy, why I think it needs to end, I could write a whole book on that. But I think the reason is Family Guy just because they're just running out of ideas. How many cutaway jokes do we have to sit through? Lois, remember that one time when, oh my God, you're like this. Like, at first it's funny, but then it's just a show that again, like, I disagree with you for the fact that I think it's overrated. I just think this is a show that needs to get the plug pulled. And I think Seth MacFarlane probably wants to move on to other things, but that's his niche. He's the Family Guy guy. And that's what he's known for. JT, you have anything to say on the matter?
Actually, no.
I haven't watched it, have you?
I can honestly tell you I've never seen any episodes of Family Guy. I can American Dad, Simpsons, never, ever, ever have I seen one episode.
You've never watched The Simpsons?
I'm a Simpsons virgin.
I gotta go pop your cherry. The early Simpsons.
You gotta pop my cherry. I mean, I understand that. Like, I'll chime in a little bit, but like on some of the things you mentioned, like the greatness of some of these shows, like Family Guy, their heyday, their earlier stuff, I can totally vouch and understand your points for saying, oh, that's why this is great or this is great. Because typically in the creative world, when the earlier stuff is the better stuff, how many bands or artists have we looked at where the earlier stuff is the greatest stuff and then they hit it like a little low and then they do a comeback? I mean, has Family Guy had a comeback point yet? I can't answer that. Has The Simpsons done this most of the past 10 years? I don't know. I can't make that call because I can honestly tell you, I've never seen an episode of The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, anything like that. No, I am a Seth MacFarlane virgin or whatever.
You're a MacFarlane virgin.
Yeah, like I've never ever watched any episodes ever in my life, and I'm 22 years old and I have never seen any of them. So that's just me. But anyways, I think that some shows need to end. I mean, I agree with you. Like excuse me. How much longer can you draw out that what made that show great or what made that thing great? How much longer can you draw it out for? I can't answer that. But if Seth MacFarlane feels like he could really do it, like to me, like remember the Simpsons movie? I didn't see that, but like I said, I remember the attractions for it. The Simpsons movie, I felt like, and I knew the history of the Simpsons at the time. They started like literally 1989, and they've been on the air forever. Why couldn't they do a Simpsons? It's for some reason what popped in my head. I was like, why didn't they do the Simpsons movie as a send off to the series as well? And Seth MacFarlane has talked about doing a Family Guy movie at some point. I don't know what they would do, live action or animated or whatever, but like. Can you imagine ending Family Guy? I'm just like, because as someone who's never seen an episode, as someone who's never watched any of these shows, but can have an honest opinion, what would you say about a Family Guy end of the season, at the end of the series, like live, animated movie that they released to like FX or in theaters?
I think that'd be good. What do you think, Dan?
Well, ultimately, if you want to do a movie or a special, like fine. Honestly, a lot of these long-running anime comedies should be doing specials. They don't necessarily have to end. Just do specials or movies. Like
Yeah, or they could do that. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea more as well. They could do a movie.
because to me, you don't need all these episodes anymore. They're already popular. Everyone loves them. You made so much money off of it. All you gotta do is from time to time come back, for maybe like a 1 hour thing, or maybe a mini series, something that people can like anticipate.
Yeah,
You don't want another season because there was like, okay, it's another season.
that's a very good point.
Usually, yeah, before I get on to my other one. But the thing is, I think the problem is why I think I need to end is Seth MacFarlane can't tackle certain issues well. And the episodes ended up coming out just in really, really poor taste. Like, that's an off-air discussion because, but there were serious topics that he tried to tackle that they just came out in really poor taste. And
maybe that's basically every topic that he's done.
No, but these came out like, okay, why the hell were you making fun of shit like that? Like, okay, we're about to get a little dark here, folks. There was an episode about, I'll keep it very quick. There's an episode about domestic violence. And they kind of made it as like Quagmire's sister and her abusive boyfriend come up and they show just like him wailing on her, and they just play it off as a joke. I'm like, that shit is not funny. I'm sorry, Seth MacFarlane. That shit is not funny. Like, I get it. Family Guy's not supposed to be all highbrow, sophisticated, but there's a point. I'm sorry. When you make fun of shit like that, you cross the fucking line. I'm sorry. And you're just gonna play that shit off for laughs? No, nobody was laughing. Like, he got a lot of criticism for that episode, and rightfully so. Because okay, I'm sorry I turned this into a giant PSA, but
You're fine.
But it's just, listen, I know Family Guy's trademark is lowbrow humor, but sometimes they just cross. I don't want to sound like I work for the American Family Association. I don't. But there are times that they just cross the line. And it's not like, oh, they cross the line and we don't care. No, like, there's topics that if you are a comedy show, like, this is something you should not touch with a 10-foot pole. Unless you're going to play it off as more serious, then if you're not going to do that, then don't even touch it. Okay. Now, with that being said, I'm going to move on to my next overrated show. I've talked about this before. I don't know if it's a show you guys have heard of. It was a show on HBO called Boardwalk Empire.
You mentioned this the very first show we ever did.
Yeah.
Or so it was when we did Unpopular Opinions. I think you mentioned this.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Reggie, have you ever heard of it? Boardwalk Empire?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's about Steve Buscemi's character plays a guy named Nookie Thompson. Who is supporting prohibition, but he's not supporting it because he believes it goes with prohibition in. That means he could sell it illegally, alcohol illegally, and make some money. And okay, I want to say the first 2 seasons I really enjoyed. I really liked it. Because the first 2 seasons are Nookie rising to power. But the 3rd season, okay, there's 5 seasons. This is when I stopped watching it. It's just that the 3rd season it's no longer an interesting show. I just found it dull. I couldn't watch it anymore. I'm just like, no, I'm not interested anymore. It used to be good, but now it's just. I don't know if you two have any. I know you have. Dan, have you ever watched the show or no?
No.
But yeah, it's because it tried to be like the follow up to The Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
When The Sopranos went off, because I remember when The Sopranos went off, my parents canceled our HBO subscription. And then, because that's the only purpose they needed it for. But then everybody was saying, "You gotta watch Boardwalk Empire. It's so good." My dad goes, "Okay, let's get HBO back so we can watch Boardwalk Empire." And they never did. Yeah, I just thought the show, like I said, the first 2 seasons were great. The rest of it is just dull, and just the saying the journey is more exciting than the destination. This show proves it. All right, JT, over to you next.
All right. So I've been thinking as you were talking about what other shows I think are overrated as far as, and I'm including Netflix in here because I full disclaimer, I am not a fan at all, really. Some of the stuff I like, some of the stuff I don't. Of Netflix's original content, this is a whole nother discussion on its own. But some of the content and the shows and the movies they put out just suck to me. Some look good, but some just don't look good. Like I feel like every other week we're getting a different Netflix movie about sex. Like the hell. So like literally like sex education, sex.
Get everybody nice and horny.
Yes, keep you all nice and horny. But like
you're all trapped in your house. You need some pleasure.
Jesus Christ, Bill. So like when I say to you like, oh, what shows come to mind? I'm including Netflix in this because we live in a day and age where streaming is a thing. This one I can honestly say I watched the whole thing, but as time went on, I felt like the people who watched it were like, dude, because we live in a day and age of like where people are like, dude, have you not seen was it The Queen's Gambit? Have you not seen this or that? Like, there's so much content available with Netflix, it's actually scary, truthfully. But when this show came out, I remember it was the talk of the town. It was like and I watched the whole thing, and I was very, 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 very impressed. But again, this is one of those shows where the hype just overdid the whole thing. House of Cards.
Oh, you know what? I kind of agree.
Okay, like the hype. This is what pushed me to make it overrated in my mind. The hype was through the fucking roof. Like, holy crap! Like, literally through the roof. People were like, hey, well, 4 seasons, 4 decks, 4 cards, whatever. Right? I'm like, literally, it was everywhere. People were talking about this thing, and I'm like, I was like, all right, I sat down, I watched all the seasons. It's one of the few shows I've ever done that, but like. Honestly, it was just so like I remember watching it. It's good quality TV, Kevin Spacey, whatever, right? But like, and Robin Wright, Jenny from Forrest Gump. But like for real, like, can you? I never. Dan, I want to hear your comments in a second. But like, House of Cards, I liked the show. I just think the hype and the buildup and all this excitement was just pushed it to become overrated. Tell me why I'm right or I'm wrong. House of Cards.
House of Cards. I mean, I think House of Cards. I think you're right, but it's a good show. I mean, honestly,
I mean, it was a very good show. I just think that like there was some. It doesn't even matter what show it is now. Like there could be like any hype of any Netflix property. Like there's so much hype. Like. You haven't seen this one show based on this book. I'm like, I don't fucking watch it. I think House of Cards was great, but the hype just overdoes it for me. It kind of takes me out of it. Yeah, that's my thing.
Well, I mean, House of Cards was on for a while.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the viewership was crazy. I just ultimately I think that House of Cards is a great show, and I'm not saying that I watched it a lot, but I've seen a few episodes. Yeah, it's
Very dark. Very dark.
It's feisty. I like it.
Yeah. Bill, House of Cards.
And no, I used to watch it. I really liked it. I didn't see the last season though.
It's scary stuff, man.
I did hear a few things, like it's just some weird shit about how they find out who killed Frank Underwood, and it's just I don't think I really wanted to watch the last season, only because what's his face? Kevin Spacey was that show.
Oh, absolutely.
No disrespect to Robin Wright, but that was Kevin Spacey's show.
Of course.
Like that was his show. He carried that show. Like there was, yeah. But I will say this: I stopped watching it a lot because after the allegations of Mr. Spacey's behavior, I couldn't watch that show for a while.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, oh my God, when I see him, I'm thinking about what he was doing. Oh God.
Right.
But like, I like the show. I don't think it's necessarily overrated, but I don't really think they should have had that last season. I think they just should have ended it.
How many seasons were there? Were there 5 or 4?
6.
Yeah, 6.
See, to me, me personally, if I was the creative control over at Netflix, and I'd say, look, we're going to make this as dark as possible, and we're going to make it 4 seasons because of 4 decks. And then the series finale would have been the 4th season, and it would have been him getting to power. And then that would, to me, that would have been like a huge cliffhanger thing. Like, so that's me though. Anyways, that is my next pick for our overrated television shows. Who's up? Dan?
Dan, over to you.
Next overrated TV show.
Next overrated TV show. I would have to say the next overrated TV show would be, I'm going to go kids here.
Okay.
I'm going to go with kids here. And I'm going to say that iCarly is incredibly overrated. And the fact that it's coming back on TV is insane.
Bill, do you want to chime in first or me?
I can kind of see why. But I never really got into iCarly. That was a little past my time. Like I've seen a few episodes here and there, but
no, I fuck with iCarly.
I think Miranda Cosgrove, I have nothing against her.
No,
I'm talking about the show in general. Well, I'm not.
Yeah,
but
I did watch a few episodes, and I thought, again, I was like a teenage. I was like middle school, high school.
Yeah,
it gave me a good chuckle here and there, but now as an adult, I don't think I would get any entertainment value out of it.
My turn?
Your turn.
Oh boy. So like I agree with Dan. It is overrated. A lot of those Nickelodeon Disney Channel shows are completely overrated. Give me a break. But I agree, and yet I disagree with you at the same time, my friend.
Okay.
Maybe this might be like a groundbreaking. I agree with you that iCarly is an overrated show to an extent, because at the heart of it, it was about this girl and her friend and her other guy, and they make a YouTube show, and kind of like what we're doing right now, but with 3 guys, whatever, and like literally what we're doing right now. But in reality, I liked that the storyline of the show itself. I liked how it's like the set of characters, And like the older brother is Jerry Trainer. He's like,
he was the best part of the show.
It was so freaking funny. It's a beef coon. You know, I don't remember that one. But like there were some parts that I think, truthfully, that the producer, Dan Schneider, God help his soul, he is awful. You heard that from me. Like, he has a foot fetish problem. Okay, like, hear me out for a second.
This is gross in general.
I know how many episodes of this fucking show have the feet in it. Like, we're playing with our feet. Like, literally, the guy, you know what I'm talking about. Literally, every other episode is like, let's play with our feet. Let's play with our toes. Let's do this. What the hell? You're going to have like middle school or high school kids watch this shit
and play footsies.
Literally, footsie. They're playing foot tag. Like they're putting feet on. Like, the producer has a foot fetish problem, and he emphasized it through iCarly. Holy God. Literally, so I agree with you on that part where it's a little bit overrated. To me, it's a little bit overrated. It's not as overrated as you might think, but like, because like, you know, it's like it's one of those shows of your youth where you're like, it's like an embarrassing part, but you still liked it, kind of thing.
It's like a show that you look back on and like, why the hell did I like this?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I agree. I look back all the time. I still do, like, to this day. Actually, it's so funny you said this because like literally today I'm like, why did I like iCarly? Why did I do it? And then and I liked it for the reason at the time, but like, don't listen. It lasted like 7 seasons, and there was some good story elements here and there, like with Freddie and Sam and how they eventually made up. Now, no, you want to talk about controversies? Bill talked about a controversy with Kevin Spacey. Do you remember? I don't know if you guys remember this when either the second or last season of iCarly was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because Sam, the character, Jeanette McCurdy's character, Sam, was saying she was in a mental hospital because she liked Freddie. Do you remember this controversy? Where like literally, okay, I'm not kidding you. I remember this as clear as day. I don't know why I do, but here it is. Sam said she was in a mental hospital because she liked Freddie and that she was questioning herself, right? So a ton of hospitals, right, in reality, were actually like not on strike, but they were like protesting. They got behind. They formed a little movement apparently and say, "Hey, what you're saying is not right. You know, that's not how you should represent mental health." Stuff like that.
I agree with that. I totally agree.
Like, who the fuck does that on a TV show? It's like, do you remember this? It was like 2012.
I didn't hear about this.
It was like it wasn't like as mainstream as like, you know, hey, here's President Obama, like, you know, at the time. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like that. It was like literally, I shit you not. There were hospitals actually protesting and going to Nickelodeon being like, look, you got to stop doing this. You got to fix this right now because you're causing an image of real world shit, mental health, to be like represented in this way, and it's completely wrong, and you're doing it wrong. I heard that. I was like, oh shit. So, did you guys hear about this?
No, I didn't. I think I may have seen the episode though.
Yeah, it was like towards the end of the series. But Dan, did you hear about this?
You mean? I know of it. I
okay.
See if I know of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it was in like newspapers and whatever. But like literally, like there were people like actually like angry at the show because like you're representing this in a very bad way. You should stop it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's tricky with, you know, children's programming because children are watching it and they're going to perceive it that way. So that's why it got as much attention and controversy as it did. I mean, ultimately, I just think that when it comes to shows like iCarly, you know, obviously, like there's this big marketing campaign to try to get people to watch the show. They watch the show, everyone loves it, but then it's like, how good is it really?
Right.
You watch the show and it's not that good, you know. So then why is it getting all the attention?
I don't know.
And the weird thing about Nickelodeon and Disney Channel does this too. They like to overhype shows before it even starts.
I know. Oh, don't remind me.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree with you.
Shows are already overrated before they even go on air.
And things that suck, you know what they do?
Mm-hmm.
They just ship them off and pretend they never existed.
Mm-hmm. Or they recirculate somewhere.
I think I say they suck more, but
yeah, but Yeah, what I got to say about that topic before I move on to my next thing is it's just that when you tackle stuff like mental health, like that stuff, you gotta be very, like what I was saying with Family Guy in the domestic violence episode. Not that I'm comparing the two,
Right.
but when you tackle subjects like that, you gotta be very careful.
Yeah.
And I get it's for show, it's for a kid's show, so you don't want to be too dark. But on the other hand, you gotta, because if kids see it like that, they're gonna think like, oh, that's what happens to everybody. They're just cuckoo.
And it's wrong.
But I know you gotta water it down to an extent, but I feel like if you put it off that way, you put it off that everyone who has issues with mental health, you playing it off that they're just crazy, and that kind of sets a negative connotation to it. It just paints them as, oh, he's crazy, which, it's not. I'm just saying subjects like that, they're not all that black and white. So
absolutely.
And I get it, for kids, you want to keep it appropriate. But I think there's a difference between watering it down and just simplifying it so bad. It's just, and I didn't even know about that controversy till you just said about it. And I think and I agree with you. Okay. My next one. Are you ready for? Okay. Fuller House.
Okay. Wait. The Netflix revival?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Basically the whatchamacallit, the sequel to Full House.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Because I'll be honest with you guys. Okay, it's time for a confession.
Well, here's the thing. If a show is overrated, it has to be because it's actually overrated. So just being fair.
But here's the thing. The original Full House, I'll admit, was kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. Shut up!
That show's underrated, by the way. Full House.
Yeah, but I just think, I remember people were talking about it when it came out on Netflix. And just people were like, oh my God, everyone's back together. I'm like thinking, we present to you, and I got a lot of shit for saying this. We present to you the laziest idea we've ever came up with. It's just basically, okay, the original Full House. This was what probably the prep meeting was like. This is what the pitch meeting was like. It was like, okay, so what do we do next, folks? How about this? We basically do Full House. Instead of three men who have to take, with a widowed father who have to take care of girls, why don't we switch it up and let's make it 3 girls, a widowed mother who have to take care of 3 sons, and we'll throw a girl in there. Okay, bingo, we're done. But it's just, I feel like that show, because I actually watched a few seasons just out of morbid curiosity.
Or because you liked it and you secretly liked it and you wanted to keep watching it.
Shut up, Dan.
Just saying.
No, I kind of got a little stale, but it was just. But I felt like I didn't watch all the seasons because I just felt it was like when they were just like bringing back things from the old show. It was just like, hey, remember this? Remember this? Remember this? Remember this?
I hate it when they do that.
Remember that? Remember the teddy bear song? Remember that? We're just gonna give you an hour of nostalgia. We're just gonna shove it down your throat so we can remind you how good this show was, even though what we're doing right now is totally crap and we hate ourselves for doing it. But
handful.
But like it. And like that's the thing. It's like, listen, nostalgia is very profitable nowadays. But it was just getting to the point where they're shoving it down your throat. Like, remember this? and like I said, I just think everybody, again, I know I got into a fight with a friend at the time who said, I'm so excited for this one. After I watched, I'm like, again, this is the most laziest show. They just did everything, but it's a gender bender. It's like the Grease 2 of TV shows. It's like, instead of a good girl and a bad boy, let's have a good boy and a bad girl. And look, just so we can keep continuity, let's just make the boy Sandy's cousin. Like, Fuller House is like the Grease 2 of TV shows. Yeah, I went there, folks. I went there.
This is why I love having you on.
So, yeah, Fuller House. I don't know if it's overrated or I just needed to get some shit off my chest. But either or, I'm good. I'm happy I got that shit off my chest. All right, JT.
Well, go ahead, JT.
No, Dan. You spoke first.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I agree with Bill. I think Fuller House is incredibly overrated. It's not even it's not properly rated for sure. It's definitely overrated. I think that when it was first released, I think it got, and rightfully so, because it was a good season. When it first got released, I thought it was good. Then the content just started to get too recycled. And when you do that, all it does is just, it brings you down. It doesn't really do much. But people still watched it. And people still loved it. For what reason? For what reason? Overrated.
Ah, you finally agree with me on this one. Okay. So, JT, your next one, my friend.
Oh, wow. For some reason, underrated shows are coming into my head for some reason, but that's okay. Overrated shows. Someone got a text. Wow. I'm just having it to myself. Okay. This could be a whole. I'm just saying we could do a whole nother thing in a couple of weeks saying, hey, shows that have to end. That could be the next show we do. Somewhere down the line. No, but like in reality, underrated. Overrated. I keep getting confused. Overrated TV show. Man, The Mandalorian. I'm just kidding, everyone.
Oh God, people, we're about to get their pitchforks ready.
Get the pitchforks ready. No, overrated.
His address. No, I'm just kidding. Not gonna tell you.
Is it because it's associated with Star Wars?
Nah, he was kidding.
No, I was just joking. Okay.
He was just kidding, folks.
I was just kidding. All right.
Sure about that?
You thought Fuller House was controversy. You thought Fuller House and House of Cards and iCarly was overrated. And all
by the way, before you go on, I just want to say Matt Hemsley.
Oh, shout out to Matt Hemsley in the chat board.
And we'll get to European in a second, Matt. But okay, go on, JT.
There's only one word that gets me so angry with people, and it's the name of the show that I'm about to say.
What is it?
I think, without a doubt, and I'm curious to see. I know Bill and I have talked about this, but I'm curious to see what Dan has to say. The one show that I think is unbelievably overrated because of its fan base. Are you ready, Internet?
I think I know what it is, but go on.
You ready for it? Friends.
Oh, I was about to say that.
Fight me.
I agree. I totally agree.
I know he agrees. But like, can I go off on a tangent for just a second? Because we have the time and we have the internet. Friends. As someone who has watched, again, it's the same situation as Breaking Bad and the other shows that we talked about. I have watched a bunch of episodes, and one thing, and I'm going to draw my comparison to one of my favorite television shows of all time in this one. My thing with Friends is that every single episode is except for the pilot, I think. It's like the one with the blank, the one with the, I can't remember a motherfucking episode of Friends. All right. I really
the one with the something.
I really the one with the what? The one with the baby? The one with the like, okay. This could start a whole controversy here. comparison. I cannot remember a goddamn episode of Friends. The only one thing I remember of Friends, two things actually, is that I look like Joey.
And he kind of does. He kind of looks like LeBlanc.
And the other thing is the Central Perk coffee mug that you see in stores everywhere because of the show. I think it's so overrated. It is nowhere near as bad. It has 10 million followers on Instagram, and Seinfeld has like 100, like almost 1 million, whereas the quality of the shows are drastically different. I think Friends is so overrated. It actually gets me worked up, and I'm getting worked up right now. Please calm me down. Friends is overrated. Seinfeld over Friends every fucking day of the week. Bite me, internet. Go after.
Okay, I just want to say this.
Bill, go first.
I kind of agree. Okay, I will. I'm going to admit this, though.
Yes.
The theme song is actually pretty good.
The theme song is a lot better. We have to admit that.
The theme song is actually better than the show.
I'll be there for you. That's the one again.
When the rain starts to pour. But anyway, I kind of agree with you. I think it's one of those shows. Like I said, I've only seen like a few episodes, but I think it's like what you've been saying. It's the hype that kills it.
The fan base is.
It's like a cult. It's like a freaking cult.
Literally.
That's how you know you have a good show, though. That's how you know you have a good show, though.
You got a point.
Okay, good point taken. But the thing is, when you mess with this show, the fan base will attack you like you just said something about their mother. Like they will literally, like I said, it's like when Friends was getting taken off Netflix and this was before HBO Max was a thing.
Pitchfork
on Facebook. Exactly. They were getting ready to grab some torches and pitchforks, go to Netflix's headquarters and start a riot. Like, these people were like, oh my God, Netflix is being taken off. Friends is being taken off Netflix. This is awful. This is terrible. And like I said, I watched Friends, and I'm not gonna lie, there are some episodes I do enjoy, and I got a good laugh out of them. But I think it is, again, people get so freaking protective of the show. It's ridiculous. And it's like, okay, maybe me calling it a cult was going a little too strong. I apologize. But it really is just like, this is a show that 90% of the people weren't even alive when this show premiered. It's people just get, and because I remember I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and she said that the problem is it was good when they were younger in the first few seasons, but then, and this is a common thing in many shows, when they show them growing older and they show them getting married and having children.
Yep.
It's like then the show loses its charm a little bit. Because you remember the show when it first started, it was just about a bunch of young, crazy, single, childless people. And now they're like in this next, and now you're like, okay, it's good to see them in the next stage of their lives. Well done. But it kind of loses its charm after a while. And I think the thing with the show is it just didn't know when to end. And listen, if any of you guys like Friends out there, that's your opinion, and go ahead, like it. Like I said, this is all personal opinion, but like I said, it's one of those things that hype kills it. And again, the show is actually not bad.
No, of course. It's
just the fan base that gets so obnoxious. Okay, Dan's rolling his eyes. He's got a few things to say. He does this when we do the podcast, so I know he's got something to say.
It's overhyped and properly rated.
Okay,
that's what I have to say.
So do you like the show?
I love Friends. I have a shirt I have a Friends shirt. There's all the characters on it. So I love that show, but no. I absolutely do not think it's overrated. I think at times it's like, how I said it earlier on the show, there's like on the cusp of properly rated and overrated. This one is more on the cusp of properly rated and underrated.
Really? That's interesting.
I think it's one of those shows that gets that it's close enough where it's like, yeah, I think the way people are talking about Friends, the way people were talking about it when it was on air on NBC, I think it was just around what the show is. The value of that show is what it is. It's right there. But then there are times where, there's maybe it's like a certain scene or a certain moment of the show that doesn't really get touched upon.
Okay. Before we go on to Dan's next overrated show, our dear friend Matt Hemsley in the chat board said, my only real opinion on this topic is one, Friends is overrated, which we just talked about. And JT, you're going to hate this one. He says he thinks Seinfeld is overrated.
You have just started a war, my friend. You have started a war.
You have anything to say about that before we go on to the next one?
Matt, I know where you live, and I'm going to come and find you.
Don't worry, Matt. I will not give him your address. I promise.
No, I'm kidding. Asm of Earth has entered the chat board. Welcome, Asm. Love to see it.
Hey, Asm.
Really quick before you go on to your next one, Bill. He says The Simpsons.
Okay. I could literally do I could probably write a whole doctoral thesis on this, but I'm not going to. But I will say this about The Simpsons, and I'll make this really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Simpsons, it's one of those shows that just needs to end. It's been on for 30 freaking years. Like, pre-movie Simpsons was great. Like, immediately a few Simpsons after the movie, okay, it was more a hit and miss. And, like, listen, pre-movie Simpsons did have a few duds. But after the movie, like, the seasons of the immediate seasons afterwards were more like hit and miss. Like, some were good, some were not so good. But then it's just like, okay, we've been watching this for 30 plus years.
Where are you going to go from here?
What was that?
Where are you going to go from here?
And just the thing that really bugs me is when they do try to do social commentary.
Mm-hmm.
And like, listen, I'm all for social commentary, but when you're on a show that's been, not social commentary like for years, and they try to do it, it just takes you out of it. Like something like South Park can get away with that because that's kind of their thing.
Yeah.
But it's just, the show just needs to die. It needs to end. Just do another season or so and then just go out. Honestly, the show should have been canceled like 10 years ago, but what do I know? I'm just a podcaster and a YouTuber, so I know nothing. All right, Dan, what's your next overrated show?
I have a couple more that I could really think of, really.
Hey, that's fine.
I would say, I'm going to say this just to get out of the way. 13 Reasons Why.
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, God. I've never even watched it, and I've had no plans on watching it.
Don't watch it. First of all, the episodes are too long.
Like, way too long.
I remember my brother watched it, and he said...
Yeah. What did he say?
And I think he was watching it at first just because of the hype, but then I was like, hey, I want to try to get into this. He's like, don't. It's very disturbing.
Well, it's disturbing. Well, they took most of the disturbing, the really disturbing part. They took it off. Netflix had to take it off because it got a lot of controversy over that.
Yeah, because it was glorifying suicide.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought it was very important to watch it, but no, a lot of people didn't like it. So, but in any case, no, it is overrated because not necessarily because of the hype of the show, but because of the way people like it got attention like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't necessarily overhyped. It just got so much attention. For me, obviously, for the suicide and for that story that leads up to it, it's a very good story. But ultimately, it's like it's not. It's a great story, but to me, it's just not as great as people really described it. And I just don't like the way things were portrayed. Not that's not true. I love the way things were portrayed. I just didn't think it was as good as people made it out to be. And that's why I think it's a little overrated. But it was a great season 1. I tried to watch season 2, but like I said, the episodes are too long. I can't watch. I can't sit another season or 2 watching those long ass episodes.
Yeah,
I'd rather, and this is what Stranger Things does a good job with, because those episodes are long too. But things are interesting.
Yeah.
There's nothing interesting about 13 Reasons Why after the first season. That's why I think it should have been a miniseries. That's another topic for later.
That's
all right.
Yeah, but I kind of agree with like I said, I've never really watched the show, so I can't really speak on the matter. But I remember my brother was saying, "Don't watch it. You would find the show disturbing." JT, why do you think it's overrated?
A lot of the reasons Dan said it's controversial. It's it was based off a book, which the book itself was like pretty much what the show season 1 was about a girl killing herself. And I mean, like that's to run off the bat, that's a very controversial thing as it is. And as far as it being overrated, I think it just was overhyped as a lot, and with the overrated as well. I think the overhyping led to overrating. To be honest with you, I tend to agree with Dan on those points. Basically, a lot of things that Dan said, I agree with. To be honest with you, I remember when it came out, I was who was it? I was dating my second ex, and sure enough, she was into like the Netflix shows. Her whole family was like, we don't go outside, we just watch Netflix, whatever, kind of whatever. Even on
that's their life.
Literally even on a beautiful day. Anyways, I was like, oh, why don't we go outside? No, let's watch 13 Reasons Why. It just came out. I'm like, okay, whatever, sure. Can I share my just 2 cents really quick on that? I just didn't like it, to be completely. Look, I'm not saying that like suicide awareness and whatnot, like it's bad. I'm not saying that at all. It's just a little overly drawn out. I just didn't like it. To be completely honest with you, I'm just not a fan of it at all, because it was just so like everything from the school to like the clues. Like, give me a break. Like I didn't like it overall. I mean, overrated. I could see your points. I just flat out didn't like it. And yes, Dan. The one thing that pisses me off on Netflix is that their episodes are like an hour long each. Like, it's ridiculous. So I don't know.
At least on like things like Disney Plus, they keep them 30 to 40 minutes long.
I know, like Jesus Christ. So,
but
go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on like I said, I've never really watched the show, but to be honest with you folks, I have really no plans on watching it anytime soon.
Don't, like, Bill, can I say don't watch it? It's like for your sake, and like for me personally, I was like, okay, some of the stuff is really like not like gory, but like it's like dramatically put together. Just for your sake, don't watch it.
Because I remember my brother showed me a scene where I'm not even gonna say it on camera.
Yeah, it's
but yeah, I'm not. I have no plans on watching 13 Reasons Why. And plus, there is a controversy. Does it glorify suicide? That's a whole nother conversation that I don't really feel like getting into right now.
Yeah, it's like not.
And yeah, so anyway, okay, my turn. I've only watched a few episodes. Okay, I've only noticed I've only watched a few episodes of the show. Never really got into them, but this is another controversial one. Guys, do not hate me. Mad Men.
I agree with you.
I just found the show boring.
Okay, explain why.
I don't know. I just found it a little. I've only watched like a few episodes. I just kind of found it, slow paced. And after just a few episodes, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm really going to get into this. And my brother loved it. And I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I should think about giving it a second chance. But I just found, and like, listen, I think like some of the advertising stuff they show is pretty interesting. But yeah, so what's yeah, so Dan, you said you were gonna say something.
Nope. I think it's just interesting that you chose that one. That's all.
Yeah. JT, you have anything to say on this?
I can only vouch for the fact that I've seen only in total like 8 episodes of Mad Men, and as my cousins were watching one night, I was at their apartment in New York City, whatever.
Yeah. Haven't seen a full episode, so I can't really say anything. But interesting. It's an interesting one.
It's definitely an interesting pick for sure.
Like
Because
I said, I would say this is a conditional pick. You know, maybe I need to give it another watch. You know, maybe I need to give it another watch. Maybe I'll like it again. So,
just want to say, Matt Hemsley in the chat board also just said that I watched the first episode of Mad Men and I felt the same way as Bill. I mean, it shows hit everyone differently. They all do.
And there'll be no pitchforks and torches coming to my house tonight. So,
yeah. Maybe in my house, but
yeah, I just want to say, before we go on, I got a few things. We got a few interesting things from Asm of Earth.
Yes, I was talking to him a little bit.
He thinks The Office is overrated.
I mean,
What do you guys think?
Me first? Is that cool?
Yeah, you first.
Okay. I agree, but to an extent.
No,
Do we? I mean, like That's What She Said has been going on for how many years?
years. We say that here too.
Yeah, like That's What She Said. Like at random, we'll say it. Like I think it's getting to the. I think the situation with The Office, like the hype of it and the hype of The Office, has caused it to become overrated. I think, but do I think it is like? I still think it's a very, very, very good show. To be completely honest, do I think it's overrated? Slightly. I think I think a lot of hype online, like, dude, like the fact that Michael Scott and Dwight, like, people still reference the fire scene where the fire alarm goes off, like, what are we gonna do? Like the opening of that episode, like literally, it's hysterical, but is it overrated? I tend to agree. The show's been off air since 2013, and there's no plans for an Office revival, as far as I know, from Universal.
I keep hearing the British version is actually better.
I've heard the opposite. I've heard the U.S. version is a lot better. That's me though.
But you know what I heard is
yeah.
And did you, before I get on to my thoughts, did you hear like a while ago SNL, John Krasinski hosted SNL?
Yeah, that's a little while ago.
And so yeah, I was on a show called The Office, and they're like, "Where's Pam?"
See, and that just shows you something.
And they kept crying, goes, "Kiss Pam!" And saying, "Is that Pam?" And then like Pete Davidson's on, and he goes, and John Krasinski goes, "He like the woman who plays Pam. We're very good friends, but we're both married to different people." And then he goes, and then Pete Davidson goes, "Well, the thing is, John, people have been stuck inside their houses for like a year because of, you guessed it, thanks, COVID. You know, people have been stuck inside their houses binging Netflix, so they basically think Pam and what's his face, Dwight.
Oh yeah, Dwight. Are
basically real people. But yeah. I kind of would agree. I don't think the show is. I don't think it's overrated. Maybe a little bit, but I do think it's overhyped.
Oh, the hype is definitely there.
Like there are people like I remember my brother was really into it.
Oh yeah,
and I remember everybody just saying, "Oh my god, I just watched the full series of The Office for the 4th time." I'm like,
I know there's so many people.
Like people, no, there are people who watch and rewatch the series, and like again, I've watched a few episodes. I'm more than a few episodes. I've watched it because there was a time my brother was into it, and I would watch it with him sometimes, and I actually did enjoy it, and I thought it was kind of funny.
I mean, yeah.
But again, it's one of those shows where the fan base just kills it because, again, they treat it like it's a sacred cow.
I know.
But I think, I'm going to say this, unpopular opinion. I know this is going back to the first episode, but unpopular opinion. I think Parks and Rec is better than The Office.
I don't know. For me, that's really hard
Different
to say.
about it.
What was that, Dan?
I'm indifferent about it. I think both shows are great.
What?
I agree with Dan.
So, what are your thoughts on The Office, Dan?
Yeah, share your thoughts.
It's a good show. It's really funny. Like if you really pay attention to it, it's hilarious.
No, it's funny. But
that's the thing. People just don't pay attention to The Office. Like they look at this as like a mockumentary type of thing, and it's like awkward and quiet. But if you pay attention, funny. I don't think it's overrated though. I think it's a bit of a stretch to say it's overrated.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe another one that's properly rated.
But I would say the thing is it's like, again, it's that fan base. It's like what we just said about Friends. That fan base is like super, super protective of that show. Yeah. And like I said, I don't know if I would consider The Office overrated but maybe I would say it's definitely overhyped. But would I say overrated? I don't know.
I don't know. Are you good? I just want to say what else he wanted to say.
Do you have any more? Do you think we can?
He mentioned a couple more on the chat board that he said were overrated. He said Game of Thrones.
I've never watched it, so
I can't comment either. Stranger Things.
I think Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, no. Stranger Things, no.
Okay. And the last one he said was The Flash on CW.
The Flash, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
All shows on CW are overrated.
A lot of them. I mean, Arrow was good for the first couple of seasons. Let's be fair.
Okay.
And then I stopped watching Flash after the third season.
I got through one episode.
I never watched it, so I can't really speak to them.
One episode? Wow, I'm surprised.
Just no, thank you. No, thank you.
Okay, all right.
I'm not a superhero type of.
Oh, you're not okay.
Yeah,
we're the Marvel nerds here, JT, and the DC nerds.
Yeah. Another show. If you guys are about to end it, another show quickly. Big Bang Theory.
Oh, you know what? I was about to say that.
We haven't even talked about that. Okay.
You know what? I think this could be a group discussion.
As much as I love Big Bang Theory, I think this whole nonsense of it being the number one comedy was a bunch of BS. I think to me, throughout that time, Modern Family was a better comedy. Don't get me wrong, Big Bang Theory is so much funny, but it's funny because it was nerdy. And on top of that, it wasn't as the first maybe 3 seasons. Yeah. Very good show.
Yeah.
But then it was really once it got to syndication, that's where it started to get a little bit more overhyped.
No, I agree.
Then all of a sudden it went on this craze. People were buying. I have a Sheldon shirt that says Bazinga. So
Bazinga.
All this craze for Big Bang Theory started happening, and it became the America's best comedy. To me, it was supposed to be BS. I think there are much better shows. They're funnier. Don't get me wrong. Big Bang Theory is very, very much a funny show and a very well deserving of 12 seasons.
Bill, go ahead. Sorry.
Here's the thing. Here's my history with the Big Bang Theory. I used to, when I was in high school, I used to really like it. And, I remember even in college when I was if I had a lot of homework, I would DVR it so I could watch it the next day or watch it over the weekend.
Right.
And the thing is with the Big Bang Theory, I would stop whatever I was doing to watch it. But I think when I got into college, I think I think the thing was I just started outgrowing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I used to think this was funny. 13, 14, 15-year-old me used to think this was funny, but now as an adult, I just don't find this, I just didn't find it really that fun anymore. I think it was one of those shows, as the old saying would go, that jumped the shark.
Yeah.
It went on way too long. And, I think it suffered the same problem that it did from Friends. Again, it showed one of them, they're all young, single, no kids. And then throughout the show, it then shows them, getting married, adding the spouses, having kids, adding the kids. It's just like, this is not their show. This is not Bernadette and I forgot Amy and Penny show.
Yeah.
This is, this is Sheldon,
Leonard.
Howard.
Okay,
it is Penny show to an extent. Raj and Howard. It's their show. But I just think this show it really jumped it didn't just jump the shark. The shark also jumped up and ate the show. But it's one of those shows that just ended long before it should have had.
Yeah.
And there were some, I think it was maybe after season 4 I stopped watching because I lost interest, and I'm like, you know what? I can't watch this anymore.
Right.
I sound like such a fuddy-duddy, but yeah, it's like, stuff I found interesting when I was in stuff I found funny when I was in high school. I'm like, no, I just don't like it anymore. But like some of the later episodes, like they had this nice little tribute to Stephen Hawking, which I thought was nice. They had, it was like right after he died. It was right after Sheldon and Amy's wedding. Go, hey, this is a gift from Stephen Hawking. He may have sent it to you before he died. And it was engraved, I wish you all the best happiness.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that kind of teared me up a little bit. But you know what? Like I said, maybe I wouldn't say overrated, but maybe that show just went on way longer than it should have had.
They definitely dragged a lot of stuff out.
Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. And, for what I got, I do have fond memories watching it, but
Of course.
that show just went on way too long than it should have had.
Can I chime in?
You may chime in.
Cool. I just want to say, I think we should wrap up after our little Big Bang Theory discussion because it is.
Absolutely. I'm getting kind of beat. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm getting beat, and it's been a good show so far. Big Bang Theory. I'm not going to say I'm going to disagree with you, Dan, a little bit on this point, but I'm going to say that the first 4 to 5 seasons are good because I did follow it from the very, very beginning until like the fourth season was when Amy first came into the show. The 5th season is when they started dating and whatnot, and then I kind of went off from there. But they did have. I will say, for a good period of time, they did have a lot of really good episodes and a lot of great guest appearances. Stan Lee, Stephen Hawking, Bill Nye the Science Guy. If you remember that one, that episode, there was a lot of great cameos and appearances by so many famous people in this show because it was about nerds. It was about nerds with the giant Jenga. You remember that one? And what else? There was an episode where. Off the top of my head, where Howard does like great impressions of like Robert De Niro, or like and they're playing Dungeons and Dragons at the same time. It was hysterical, but like I gotta say, and I will say this, like I said, the guest appearances I thought were really great in that show. The episodes with, but once you get into like towards the latter half of the show, like when. What's his face? Stuart from the comic book store is hanging out with them. And that's just started going. Like, the comic book store got sold. They got a new shop. That stuff. Will Wheaton from Star Trek: The Next Generation was on it. Now, I will say, funny in my life, personally, what the personal piece of joy that Big Bang Theory brought to me was how it was so popular at the time on CBS, and everyone would tune in every week, whatever. I would hang out with my friends and like, I don't get this. And I'm laughing at their jokes, but my friends are not. And they're like, why are you laughing at that? Because I understand the references to Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, DC, and I'm cracking myself. I'm like, because so I was like, well, listen, well, Spock's other half. I'm like, right, like I get it, but they don't. It was funny, and that's one of the highlights of that show brought to me is that like literally, I got a lot of the references, and of course, Bazinga, like all that stuff, like this is iconic. Now, was I said that it went off there a little bit? I mean, but the finale, actually, truth be told, this could be a whole other episode too. The best and worst of series finales. That could be another show that we could do.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
That'd be a really good one. And I have an answer already. I really do to the best series finale I've ever seen. Anyways, but I think the series finale to this show, Big Bang Theory, was actually really well thought out, to be honest. Sheldon wins I don't know if you guys saw it. Sheldon wins the Nobel Prize, and he gets awarded this big award, and they have a big celebration for it. And Penny is pregnant with Leonard, their child, because they're getting married or they're married or whatever. But they pull the Seinfeld. What I mean by that is, I don't know if you guys picked up on this. The very first line of one of the very first lines of the first episode that they ever did, the pilot, was where Leonard says, "Oh, what did he say? Our babies will be beautiful and smart." Right? And what's the last line of the series? Our babies will be beautiful and smart. And what's the first episode of Seinfeld? You know, that button is in the worst possible spot. What's the last episode of Seinfeld? What's the last line of Seinfeld? The button I think they nailed that really good, in my opinion. Dan is nodding his head. Tell me why I'm right.
Well, I mean, it just comes in full circle, and you want shows to do that.
There you go. And that's what I like, shows when they come full circle. Like Modern Family ended. I just have to touch on this, and then we'll sign off for the night. But Modern Family ended, and they all just left. Where'd they go? What's going on? Who's going to college? Blah blah.
Well, it's kind of weird. I mean, it did end kind of weird, but I think it was a good finale, though. I
thought it was very good too. I thought, was it as good as like the Big Bang Theory one? No, in my opinion, no. But I did like the Modern Family one quite a bit, though. So
I can agree on that.
Bill, any other comments regarding that, or?
I think we're good.
I'm good, man. This was fun.
This was a blast. Dan, I want to thank you, my good man, for coming on tonight and joining us two lunatics up here talking about
TV. Anytime, please let me on again.
Hey, he deals with me every week, so.
And if you're up for it, I'd love to have you back. I'm sure we both love to have you back next week for Overrated Movies.
I'll see, man. You know, I never really know my schedule and stuff, so.
Whatever. I mean, whatever. If you know, you can let Bill know, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, just let me know.
Yeah.
And we also got.
Yeah, go ahead.
We also got someone coming back. We may got Justin coming back for next week for Overrated Movies. Oh boy.
Well, guest star Justin's gonna love our overrated movie topics. You know.
Yeah, because I actually texted him and said, "Hey, do you want to come on tonight?" And he goes like, "Nah, I don't really watch a lot of TV." He said, "Hey, we're doing Overrated Movies next week." He goes, "I'm in."
I'm in.
That next week, folks, friendships will be tested. Relationships will be tested. Somebody may have to send a mob of pitchforks and torches over to one of our houses.
It's gonna be great.
But yeah. So, like I said, next week we're gonna do Overrated Movies, and the week after that we're gonna go from overrated to underrated. Yeah. Okay. So that was fun, folks. Dan, thanks for coming.
And thank you.
Yes. And also check out our podcast, Sports Insanity Podcast.
It's a fun show
where we go insane, so you don't have to.
Exactly.
That's your unofficial quote.
That is our slogan. We just forget to say it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something on the lines of that for sure.
Yes, we will make shirts that say that one day. We'll go insane.
We could put it on the. We could put them on the Super Review Show store. Just saying.
And we can also put next to the shirt that's coming soon. What shirt is that? Thanks, COVID.
Love it. I'll make it for you tomorrow, right? But anyways, I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for watching us live. You guys in the chat board are awesome as usual. Stay tuned for next week. I'll be doing some couple videos tomorrow for the channel. So just my own separate things that I'm going to try and start up with my own for the channel. Hopefully you guys watch that. And it's called Why You Should Listen to Blank. Don't worry. More stuff coming about that tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. You guys are amazing.
Stay awesome. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next week and be amazing and awesome. I'm repeating myself. We have to end the stream now. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one. See you soon.
See you later, guys.
Woo.